Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, I had to restart the stream there because I didn't have a restream set up. But anyways, it's a holiday today. So, oh, let's, is it connecting? Oh, man. Let's stop the stream for a moment. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay. Had a little bit of a false start there, but I think we're good now. So let's pull up the YouTube link. Yes. Here we go. The Twitch. All right, so anyways, today is Martin Luther King Day. Not much action. Sometimes we do get ranges, so we're just gonna watch and see. I had to change up my data a little bit because now that NinjaTrader, or sorry, now that Jigsaw has the data import thing working correctly, at least I think it's working correctly. Of course, no, it's not doing anything, but that's just because it's a slow day, I guess. I mean, it's changing. A little light. But anyways, now that they have that in, Rhythmic won't let you connect multiple times. So I basically have to use the bridge. Which is a problem because I'm using a demo version of NinjaTrader. And so, of course, that means that I have to buy the full version when I want to go live, which sucks. Let's pull you guys up here. Got you in here. Yes, we do. All right. Yep, I figure it's gonna be light today. Dashboard on Twitch. What's been going on in Bitcoin here? Where is our Bitcoin chart, by the way? There it is. Yes. Let's see. It looks like we're having a bit of a run again. I don't know. There's been a severe loss of momentum. I still see a lot of people short. You know, there was a story on Zero Hedge yesterday about that the futures have been going short. You can see that. Look, they went way short, and they're keeping their shorts on. Of course, it's kind of hard to say because, you know, it could just mean that the shorts are getting out with limit orders, but the commitment of trades reports also say that they're short, so. Any interesting news? Nope. Okay, so let's look at our crypto watch. So here you can see they've been fighting, but Bitcoin finally got a lift. Ethereum's still flat. Litecoin definitely down. Zcash down. I wonder what's going on here in Bitcoin Cash. It really feels like... Okay, so Bitcoin Cash is trying to make a lift, but it's still right in there, right? Now, I mean, it's good. Now look at that line there. Look at that. Yeah, a pretty good line. get rid of this line. A good line. I don't know. It might break it. Anyways, I've been saying, you remember on the trade, I said we could take another leg lower. We could go back to 2000 or something like that, but I mean, you can see here, it can't. This price level is sustained just by people using it, so I'm not too concerned on that one. Yeah. Let's also just look at how our mining did last night. So I've been mining Z-Pool. Where is it? Can I get into YIIMP? Nope. Okay, so here's Z-Pool. Oh, so I got a payment. That's cool. But the thing, I moved over to Zcash, in part because I can't get to the pool that I was using before, which is kind of weird. But also because it allows me to like mine in one currency and get paid in something else. So I mine X17 the best. So I'm mining X17 and I'm getting paid in GroWestel. So that's nice because I really wanted more GroWestel. So I think I might do that for a little while. A week, at least. Anyway, so I got some of that. That's cool. I think that's about it on there. Oh no, we want to go to no. Coin market cap. Oh, Neo's on a run. That's interesting. Ryblock's doing well. Can't believe Ryblock's is worth 22 bucks. Man, that was a worst missed opportunity of my life. Why does Ardor have a question mark there? Smart cash it down, huh? Nexus Bitcorp. I haven't heard of that one. That's weird. All right, well. Oh man, all of our things wouldn't minimize. That's lame. Isn't that freaking annoying? There we go. Yeah. Oh, and we gotta unmute you guys too. Yo, hi Delta. I've also been looking at Garlic Coin. Let's see if they got any stuff in here. Announcements. A new poll. What should the maximum coins be? 69 billion or 69 million? Well, that's a good question. So what's the max supply of Bitcoin? Max supply of Bitcoin is 21 million. Okay. What about Dodge? Is it Dodge? How many is in Dodge? Dodge has like a ridiculous amount, right? 1,000 million billion. That has 112 billion circulating supply. Well, I mean, a number is a number, doesn't necessarily matter, but for me, if I'm going to mine, I don't think that the number of coins that possibly can exist is going to affect the difficulty. So I'm going to say, but less coins later on will make it more valuable. So I think it would be better for me if it was 1 million. Yeah, so I'm going to say 1 million in this poll. Million vote. Oh, and 63% want it to be 69 million. And 69 million, so coins are worth more and aren't a joke like Dogecoin. Dogecoins ain't no joke. Okay. They are a joke, but okay. This whole thing is a joke. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Also writing a helpful update. Okay, one of the devs does have a Twitter, so that's cool. Not much volume at all today, is there? Man, this thing on Hawaii is crazy story. I'm already seeing tons of conspiracy theories about it. Maybe I have to do another conspiracy theory debunking video. What do you think? Do you believe it? Do you think? Hey, IHT. Yep, it's Martin Luther King Day. Do you think that the alert was real? There's a lot of people are telling me, oh, the alert was real, and we actually shot down a missile. And the government doesn't want to say that because they think they will be panicked. Which in my mind is just the dumbest thing ever. Like, if the government shot down a missile, they would be telling everybody. They would not shut up about it. They would want everybody to know that the US missile shield is impenetrable and we just shot down an actual missile trying to hit the United States. I just don't buy it. I think it's dumb. IHT gonna get lucky to squeeze out a tick today with this action, right? Well, we have had action on holidays like this in the past, but at the moment, I don't know. At the moment, they're selling it pretty hard, but well, on a relative basis, look, they're all selling it, but it's really only 2,000 contracts. It's okay. We can chat. To me, excuse me. To me, it's like it's a Monday. I want to screw up my schedule. So I might as well come on and stream for a few hours. Yeah. Then we can just talk and have fun. We don't have to worry about what's going on. But this will be a good thing to test the bridge. Test the whole Ninja Trader thing. Yeah. See how my stats do and stuff. Because I'm concerned that when they make the trade over here, that it won't carry over to my ninja stats, and I'm concerned that the Ninja Trader simulator won't simulate my fills correctly. We'll see. Yeah, that Hawaii debacle, it's really hard to fathom that it was just a fat finger got friends in Hawaii, and they said the alert was shown everywhere. Cell phones, TVs, some loud sirens. Well, it sounds like... So the initial story that I heard was that it was a fat finger. That, like, there was a changeover in personnel and somebody pushed the wrong button. But then the story turned into that the military was doing an exercise and there was a changeover at the same time. So it kind of sounds like what happened was the person pushing the button thought that it was real and wasn't aware that they were doing a drill or something to that effect. But then the other weird thing is that why did it take them so long to correct it? Because it was like 40 minutes. Everybody in Hawaii thinks they're gonna die. Kind of. I mean, I don't want to be like. I know that for the people in Hawaii, that it was probably a really traumatic experience, and I've read a couple of stories that people were saying, I thought I was going to die. I got together with my family or, whoever it was, and we thought we were going to die. So I don't want to minimize that by any means, but at the same time, you have to admit that the fact that it took them 40 minutes to correct it is kind of funny. Yeah. I think the government is testing to see if the masses are buying this North Korea attack scare they've been spinning up for the past year. Well, I mean, I think that it was a mistake for sure, but we could definitely use it to see if the masses are buying up this North Korea attack scare thing, right? Malevolent Freak, hey, I saw you're now a gamer on Twitch. Yeah, so tell me, Malevolent, do you think that that's worth it? Because I just streamed a little bit of Overwatch. Not that I'm amazingly good at Overwatch or anything, but I just thought, while I'm playing, I might as well stream it. And I did get a few people come in and watch, but I was hoping there'd be more people to chat so we could chat finance while we were doing it. So I don't know if it was worth it or not. What do you think? Tell me what you think about that. Anyways, going back to the comment that AHT made about it, testing to see if the masses are buying the North Korea attack scare. If it was me in Hawaii and I read that, I would be really skeptical. Oh, that's right. I have to change it. IRL. Thank you very much. And good point. Let's fix that. Good deal. Yeah, I would have been really skeptical because I think that the whole South Korea thing is just FUD. Like, Kim Jong-un says stuff, so what? They always say stuff. And the thing is that Donald Trump fires right back, and then China is like, oh, no, we're not going to do anything. Okay, guys, just chill out. And then when that happens, and when the markets react, you notice that North Korea always backs off. They always back off when the markets get upset because China gets upset. Yeah, it's just something with the whole Hawaii thing just doesn't add up with me. If it was a fat finger, why didn't this happen before South Korea FUD is the new China FUD? Could be. I don't know. It's just an extraordinary set of circumstances, I think, that, they were doing a drill and they happened to make a change and everything was set up wrong. I would sure hope it never happens again, right? I'm sure that they're going to take the steps to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And, another thing that I think is interesting about this is that this shows how unprepared we are, because everybody in Hawaii was like, oh, I better get it to a nuclear shelter. Oh, there isn't one, or I don't know where it is. Well, now everybody in Hawaii is going to make sure that they know what they're going to do during a nuclear attack, right? Yeah, I visited South Korea this past October to visit some friends, and no one in Seoul didn't care about North Korea. People were living it up like it was 1999, so it was quite a contrast from the States. Yeah, and see, so this is an interesting, so that's the thing I was going to say, is that, are they buying it? Well, Hawaii is a very Democrat state. And it sounds, based on the reports, that the people in Hawaii were panicked. So I would say that, at least among Democrats, they are buying the North Korea is scary story. Absolutely, I think so. And I just look at my liberal friends on Facebook because I'm a very conservative person, but almost all my friends are liberal, which is difficult to do in Utah. So, Utah is extremely conservative state, but I just happen to be friends with all the liberal people, did stuff in the rave scene, done stuff in politics, and so I have a lot of liberal friends. But they're all scared about it too. Every time that Donald Trump says something, they're like terrified. They're terrified, and the conservatives just laugh at it. Overlong freak. Fear isn't political, no, but cognitive dissonance is. And you see, when conservatives see the media stories that are put out about North Korea is going to throw a nuclear bomb at us, they think, well, Donald Trump is president and this is anti-Donald Trump and I don't buy it. And so their mind refuses to believe that it's a real serious threat. Maybe the Democrats are trying to gather their forces by uniting with fear. I think it's more the case that the media just likes a good story, whatever gets them the most views. And if they can get everybody freaked out about North Korea, that's a great way to get views. Because I really don't feel like the government is pushing this. The government kind of just, whatever. Donald Trump, if they make a threat, Donald Trump makes a threat back. You don't think this is about Trump at all? Well, but the reason why I say, from my perspective, it's about Trump, or at least for the people that I've been looking at, I think it's about Trump, is because every time the North Korea thing comes up, it's within the context of Donald Trump said something inflammatory to them. Trump is just a guy who isn't able to handle North Korea like we did in the last 70 years or so. So what do you mean? What do you mean by that? So it is. I mean, the situation has changed. Are you saying that the situation has changed, or are you saying just that Trump just refuses to deal with them the same way that past presidents have? So I think that Donald Trump is doing this intentionally. Like, that his strategy is every time North Korea says something, I'm going to say something back. I think it's an intentional thing. Wait, I just got a package. Yeah, let me take a few bites here. You guys put your comments in on that. Okay, IHT says, if Trump is doing this intentionally, he might be a borderline genius. Tactics from past presidents didn't work, so he's just doing something that no one has ever done, and it might be working, haha. Well, I don't even know if it's necessarily a genius thing. I think it's just he's doing the same thing that he does with everybody else, right? Like every time in politics, if somebody attacks him and he knows he can win, he attacks back, right? I think that he knows he can win is an important thing. Because if you noticed, when Eminem was saying a bunch of stuff about him, he basically ignored him. And now Eminem is was like basically begging for Donald Trump to attack him, and he didn't do it because he knows that in the public view that Eminem has a strong brand, and he said, well, I probably don't want to start that fight because I don't know if I would actually fare well in it. But if he knows he wins, okay, if there was an actual military battle with North Korea, right? We know who would win that. So if he knows that, then he goes all out. And he's done that with literally everything. It's just following with his same strategy. And I think that there is some, I don't know, human psyche persuasion basis for it. You know, if somebody attacks you and you kind of brush it off, I think a lot of people think that, oh, that's taking the high road and that's what you're supposed to do. But in overall perception, I'm not so sure that that's the right move. And it seems to me that whenever Donald Trump does this, that he either comes out on top or it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that the number of people that hate him changes when he does this, but he does just absolutely demolish some people too. So it's kind of like the reward is greater than the risk. The point is that North Korea isn't more dangerous than it was 50 years ago. It's Trump that's giving importance to it just by putting a spotlight to it. I mean, they have a nuclear weapon now, though. They didn't have that 50 years ago. Is that really true? So that's my question to you. Then, if they have a nuclear weapon, but they're not more dangerous than they were 50 years ago? Politics isn't just about looking like the winner to a 14-year-old. So I'll wait for the answer to the other one. I don't know if it's like looking like a winner to a 14-year-old, but I mean, there's that psyche. I mean, we know that there are certain things that, like, when you look at them in isolation, it seems awfully stupid and illogical, and yet the public at large, it does affect them. Do they really have a nuke, though? Yes, they do. We know that they've done successful nuclear tests. We know that they have missiles that can go far enough. And according to intelligence, although they haven't actually done it, but according to intelligence, they have the ability now to put those nuclear weapons on those missiles. I don't think they're going to launch it if it is in any launchable state. Well, I agree with that. Absolutely. I don't think they're going to launch it either. I think they're just rabble-rousing. But if they're just rabble-rousing, then is going back and attacking them really a problem? I think they just have some plutonium and they're testing how to use it. Yeah. They actually were saying, like, one of the defectors, you remember that guy that defected a couple of weeks ago? And they had the video of him, like, running across the border. He said that that the nuclear testing was actually wreaking havoc on the area. Like, North Korea isn't using proper safety precautions in their testing. If any threat was coming, we wouldn't be shit talking about it on Twitter. Okay, maybe that's maybe a good point. Because we don't actually know. We can't read their minds, so we don't actually know how serious they are about it. And we can't read Donald Trump's mind, so we don't know how serious he thinks that South Korea is about it. But you could be right. My biggest fear with North Korea is that as they fire missiles over Japan, one of them malfunctions and actually hits something they didn't intend to. Are we still? It's just we're still looking for the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Are we? Yeah, I remember so many times. So I have to admit on that one, I thought that there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And I absolutely supported going in there at the time to get the weapons of mass destruction. And I was dead wrong. And I felt like I was lied to and fooled. And I remember there was always stories in conservative media saying, oh, look, we did find weapons of mass destruction. But it was always like there was something they weren't telling you about it. Like, well, they were weapons of mass destruction, but they wouldn't be usable. So it was actually kind of the case that the regime, wanted weapons of mass destruction and they had them, but they really couldn't work and they never got close to the point where they would actually be using them. Of course, they're not taking safety measures. They don't have a whole Kazakhstan to bomb to test them. Iran is the only other power that could deploy them. Yeah, it's just USA media blows everything out of proportion, and Trump bases everything he sees on TV. Yeah, I think so. So again, this is the thing: is that we don't really know what's going on in Trump's mind. The media wants to believe that it can read Trump's mind, and that's why they always say, when he said this is what he meant. But we don't actually know. But I believe that he is doing it, the rabble rousing, simply as a strategy because that's his strategy for everything. And I think that it is not necessarily just directed at North Korea, that is directed at China, because you notice.
GM.
Hey Keith, the times when the media was like the most scary, like back on this chart, if I could show it here, this day right here, there was news about South Korea. Yeah, it's super slow. There was news about South Korea on this day, right? And after that, North Korea backed off. So because when it scares the markets, China starts losing money, and then China is like, okay, you need to stop this. So I don't even think that we or North Korea is the primary audience. I think the primary audience is China. And we basically hacked them by spreading USBs around the facility. I don't think much goes on in Trump's mind. Well, we'll see. My only point for why I say that I think it's an intentional strategy is because of how consistent he is about it. Every time North Korea says something, every time Kim says something, he says something back. Every time. But I could be wrong. Like I said, I can't read his mind. Yeah, the same thing with that, we'll go into like really political, was that the whole thing with his supposed shithole comments, which apparently some senators are saying didn't happen the way that the media says it did. But the media is all saying this is proof that Donald Trump is racist. And I'm like, well, you weren't there. And you can't read his mind. He said in an interview that he's not racist. So how do you know that that's really why he said that? Because they're all saying he said that because he doesn't want brown people to come to the United States. Well, how do you... You're making an assumption there based off of reading his mind. It's like that with most stories. The mind-reading delusion. Take another bite here. You digest that one. Okay, so Malevolent Freak says, I don't really care about the media's opinion about things, but I heard enough being said by the man himself to have an opinion on it. And Rackley says, Trump has a pretty clear
Alligator
track record.
said, LOL, if you ever see a slower market, don't worry, your feed has stopped smiling face with open mouth.
You mean your feed has not stopped?
Heath said, haha.
Right. Trump has a clear track record showing he is racist, i.e. the Central Park Five not wanting to rent to black people and losing lawsuits over it. Well, that one's... So I think that's true. I mean, my understanding of the story, and I remember going back and reading the court documents about it, not wanting to rent to black people is the one that I'm talking about specifically. And it's true that the company was doing that at the time, and that Donald Trump worked there at the time. And my
He said, yeah, this is pretty bad.
Recollection was that they settled, and they did like a big campaign to say that they're not racist. I would not say that is proof that he is racist, though, because we don't actually know or understand what Donald Trump's own personal specific involvement was in those events. You know, we don't know if he was even aware that it was going on. He's not mentioned by name at all in any of the court documents. The Central Park Five, this again is a mind reading thing, right? Yes, he was like super wanted them to get the death penalty or something, right? And, well, they were Trump properties, but he wasn't in charge at the time. That was still when it was his dad's company. That was like when he was 20. Yeah, he was like a manager of some sort at the time. So I don't actually know what his involvement in it was. Maybe he did something racist during it. That's possible, but no. On the Central Park 5 one, he thought that these guys had raped a girl. So, people are saying that he wanted them to get the death penalty because they were black. But that's mind reading. It's possible that that's why he was so adamant that they received the death penalty. But it's also possible that he just thought that they had committed the crime and that it was particularly heinous. But I mean, that's the funny thing, is that he says he's not racist, right? So if he is racist, it's not conscious, right? So now you get a double loop, because now not only can you not read Trump's mind, but you're talking about Trump's subconscious mind that he himself cannot read. or understand. Does that, it's kind of...
Alligator said Bund is still alive, moving down by a few ticks.
But he wanted
That's
them
a day to hold positions there.
But he wanted them to get the death penalty even after it was proven they were innocent. Well, clearly he didn't believe that they were innocent. Yeah, most racists believe they are not racist. That might be true. There aren't many racist people saying they are openly. Well, okay, so then if somebody doesn't believe that they are racist, and they actually are, how do you prove that? Because for something to be racist, doesn't it? I mean, you have to show that the reason they did that thing was because of their racist bias. How do you prove that?
Heath said, Seth, you need to start a podcast. Politics in the morning with Seth, smiling face with open mouth.
I do enjoy my politics. I have to admit, with Donald Trump, I like talking about Donald Trump because it's controversial, and I like disagreeing with people. No, frankly. So don't read too much into what I'm saying here. Don't be like, "Oh, Seth is a right-wing lunatic." Part of it is that I'm a contradictory person in general, right? I personally don't think he is a racist. I think he's just a bigot. Okay. So would that mean to say, like, he's not, certainly he's not an outright racist, like open or in his heart believes that he's racist, but perhaps he has implicit biases against certain minorities that he doesn't realize, is what you're saying. Am I understanding that correctly? And so you're saying that in certain cases he did this thing, even though we can't prove that that's why he did this thing, but you're saying that you believe that the reason he did that thing. So for instance, the reason that he was disinclined to believe that those people were innocent is because of his racist bias. Trump supporters are not this knowledgeable about these topics. Yeah, it's kind of funny on this one, because most of the stuff that I know about these particular topics, I read actually on the Donald Trump subreddit. There was that one, and there was an Ask Trump Supporters, and basically anytime that one of these charges would come up, there would be people that would have like these big, long, well-researched posts providing a bunch of information to the contrary. So there are definitely that subreddit, I think in general, has been very knowledgeable. But then when you go and you look at most individual people, and especially when you extend it beyond that subreddit to just like everyday people that voted for him, yeah, a lot of them aren't knowledgeable about this stuff at all. And I've personally found that they just believe the most ridiculous stuff sometimes. Like the Las Vegas conspiracy theories. Like, remember when I made that video about the Las Vegas conspiracy theories? And most of the people that put stuff in the comments was okay, or they had interesting points, but ultimately nothing that contradicted the stuff that I said. But the people that were upset, the people that were like, saying mean things to me, were Trump supporters, because they believed the conspiracy theory. Everyday people are not on Reddit. Yep. Most of the articulated opinions going around in favor of Trump look like marketing to me. I see that as well. I think that Donald Trump's persona itself is mostly marketing. Much like Trump's political character itself, yeah. What does 4chan say about the Hawaii thing? Well, so the conspiracy theory that I've been hearing is that it was real. that there actually was a missile and that the government shot the missile down, and the government is just not telling us because they don't want the public to be alarmed. Now, my thinking on that is if the government had shot down a missile, they would want everybody to know about it because they would want to, other countries to know that our missile shield is impenetrable, and they would be trying to hold it up as a great victory as much as they could. The other theory that I've heard on 4chan, specifically, like the LARPers on 4chan, were saying that the generals specifically ordered this alert to go out, and they wanted the Trump administration to think it was real and to make an action off of it, and that the Trump administration didn't do anything, and they viewed that as weakness in the Trump administration. KCS at super discount. Where are we at, by the way, on that now? I do want that KCS. Bum, 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 ba-dum. I want that KCS, but I don't want to give up a position in Bitcoin Cash to do it. That's my problem. So I have some money going into Coinbase, but it hasn't deposited yet. Oh, I should check that too. Coinbase. Nope, still pending. That sucks. Let's just look at KCS on KU Coin. Has been slow the past couple of days. Okay, KU Coin shares is now at 12. Well, nice. I like it. It's at a low right now at the moment. But I would say it could get to $10. It could get to $10. The BCH price is not that special, but in BTC it's cheap. Yeah, but you notice the volume though in BCH is good. The volume in BCH says people are buying it big time. Yep, I think if a missile actually went off, all the countries around the world would have seen it and publicized it, especially Japan, who hates North Korea and wants them destroyed as much as anyone. Exactly this. They would absolutely. There's no way that there was an actual missile fired in my view. Now this other one that the military put out a false alarm intentionally is, I mean, that's a great conspiracy theory and everything, but there's zero proof that happened. It's an interesting conspiracy theory, but I don't believe it. But I don't believe most of those. I'll tell you, there's one conspiracy theory. I don't know why I'm telling you this, the guys, this one, but there's one conspiracy theory that I believe, and maybe it's not even necessarily that I believe it as much as I want to believe it, because obviously I have no proof that this is actually true. But the conspiracy theory is that Chelsea Clinton is not actually Bill Clinton's daughter, that Chelsea Clinton is actually the daughter of Hubble, this Hubble guy. Have you ever seen that picture?
Heath said ha ha ha.
Come on, man. You seen this? Look at this. She looks like him. She looks more like him than he does Bill Clinton. She looks more like him than she does Bill Clinton. I'm telling you. I know it's the dumbest thing, but I really I think she looks like him. Could be. Conspiracy theories are the adult version of bedtime stories. Tell us more. I just think that she looks like this Hubble guy. Conspiracy theories. Well, you know what else is an interesting conspiracy theory? Um, is the well, I mean, it's kind of related to the conspiracy theory, right? Because they're the whole Pizzagate conspiracy theory, which to me looks like people took one little connection and just went like way left field with it, and I really don't know how it caught steam. But I remember when the Donald was all over that, and I'm just like, you guys are idiots. Like, none of this means anything. Like, the pizza place has a particular symbol, and that means that they're trafficking in children. Like, that's stupid, guys. But the thing that started it, though, you got to go back to the thing that started it, and the thing that started it was that they Podesta in the emails that were in the emails that were released by WikiLeaks, there was an email where John Podesta and his brother, I think it was, were talking about going to a spirit cooking dinner. And you look up spirit cooking, and it's basically like this, performance art where they summon the devil. And in the emails, you look like a day later, and he was talking about a cut on his hand getting infected. and so the guess, and I mean, obviously it's not proof, but it would certainly seem to fit the emails. So again, it's a conspiracy theory, was that they went to the spirit cooking, and in the spirit cooking, they have to have blood from one of the participants. And so they chose John Podesta, and she cut his hand and it got infected. That's what it sounds like from the emails. And you go and look at the stuff that John Podesta has in his house, and the kinds of emails that John Podesta would guess. That guy is a weird guy. Alex Jones started it. He even had to officially distance himself and say it's not true. Did he really? Can you link me that? I've never seen that. There's also a conspiracy theory that John Podesta is Chester's dad. No, really? Oh, I've got to look that one up. That's another too good to check. That's one of the news sites, the conservative news site that I go to, Hot Air, because that's like my establishment Republican website, and I just go to Reddit for the liberal stuff. And they say it's too good to check. Like, there are some news stories that are just so good, you just shouldn't check it. You should just put it out there anyways. Okay. Podesta Chester. That's what we're going to look at. Chester Bennington is John Podesta's son. Oh, look, it's on Steemit. Okay. You know, I kind of see a little bit of a similarity, but one of the guys is wearing sunglasses in that picture. I mean, it's not going to be a very good comparison if you can't see their eyes. Was he murdered by John? Oh, man. Oh, okay. So now there's some pictures. Yeah, okay. I don't know. They have different chins, I think. He's got more of a squarish chin. The nose is similar. They look eerily similar. Oh, he posted it in Off Topic. Thank you. Where is it? Off Topic. Alex Jones apologizes for Pizzagate. Wow. Oh, I've got to watch that. I did not. How did I miss that one? Wow, thank you very much. So I think that the whole Pizzagate thing is definitely just nuts. It's just people just believing what they want to see. Posted first Alex Jones article, then this video. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I do think it seems to me that Alex Jones basically is a performer and goes full on with literally every conspiracy theory that he hears. And then, you know, if one of them is true, then yay for him. I think that's what he's doing. Because there's no way that that guy believes everything that he says. Though it could be wrong. So here's a good opportunity here for me to see how the fills go. Is this gonna work?
Order pending.
Okay. So I didn't like that when I clicked, it took a long time for it to go in. Marketing schemes. It's a brilliant tactic by Jones for viewership, contrary to the typical fear contract by the mainstream media. It is interesting, isn't it? I mean, to me, it's just interesting that he's been so successful with it. Because I always see that stuff and I'm just like, this is bullcrap. How can anybody believe any of this dumb stuff? Did you see him drink one of his own products? He clearly hates it, but pretends it's the best thing ever. It's so funny to watch. I haven't seen that one either. I usually ignore the Alex Jones stuff, even though there was lots of people that I see it linked on Reddit all the time. I usually ignore it. Does he have tinfoil hats? Because, you know, you have to remember the whole thing that I want to get in on, the tinfoil hat trade. So let's change this back to bonds. Trade the traders. Are you asking me why I went short? I didn't go short. I was just looking to buy it to see if I could pull a one tick out here. On one of my sim accounts, mostly to see how accurate the fills are in the NinjaTrader sim. That's why I did that. Because what happened was Rhythmic will allow multiple connections. Because of Jigsaw, like, you have to have Jigsaw. You might want to have Jigsaw and Rhythmic, or Jigsaw and NinjaTrader open at the same time. And so you would have to have two connections to it, which they're not supposed to do, but they were allowing it for that. And now that Jigsaw has the bridge, they're basically saying that you can't do that anymore. So it started out with just one of them, but when I tried it today, neither of them would would allow two connections. Although I couldn't connect to the demo system at all today. Oh, actually there it connected. So I can try it. There's the demo. Oh, earlier it wouldn't connect at all. And if I tried to connect Rhythmic Paper over here, oh wait, I can only have one Rhythmic connection at a time, so I have to disconnect this for a moment. Yes, that's fine. Rhythmic Paper. And it disconnects this one, see? So neither of them allow two connections anymore. Ah, why did you do that? So what I did was I connected NinjaTrader to to my main account, and I'm just using the data connection to get through here. The frustrating thing too is that let me show you something else that is really annoying. So if I can connect my demo account here again, okay. So I'm connected to Rhythmic Demo in here, and if I come over here and I look at my accounts, it's only showing me my sim accounts in NinjaTrader. So basically, if you have this DOM using the bridge data, then you can only connect it to bridge accounts. You can't like use bridge data but then send it to the normal account here, which is worrisome because, as we noticed here, if I click here and click,
order pending.
Oh, okay, actually now it's really fast, so cancel it.
Order canceled.
Okay, and it was delayed. You see that? Not cool. Oh, you see Alex Jones because of like Stephen Colbert and so forth. I gotcha. Yeah, he says crazy stuff. Every once in a while he's right though. Late shows are the only true form of trusted
Heat said long val,
media left.
kind of day.
Yeah. It seems like this is just not going anywhere. We'll see if somebody steps in and tries to make a move, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. Well, we're definitely gonna have to have some sort of. Oh wait, does the stock market? The stock market is still open today, yeah. So I think that we'll probably get a little bit of movement when the stock market opens up. Oh, that's interesting. JP Morgan chases Diamond, walks back Trump one-term prediction, says Dems don't have a deep 2020 bench. I want to be careful with that one because it certainly doesn't seem like they do right now, but you never know who comes out of the woodwork and ends up being popular. Yeah. You never know. Watch the banks. Yes, I would like the banks to do well because I have some money in banks. Oh, stock market is closed today, but the futures are still going. Oprah is popular. Okay, don't. I don't get the whole. I mean, I never watched Oprah. People are getting fired left and right as a result of the tax bill. Are they? I haven't seen that. Why are they getting fired? I know that some people have been getting some people have been getting raises and bonuses because of, or at least they're blaming it on they're crediting it to the tax bill. At least the companies that are giving them out are. I don't know if people getting fired left and right might not necessarily be a problem because unemployment is pretty good right now, right? And you get fired, you'd probably be able to find a new job pretty quickly. I shouldn't say that, that'll jinx it for me. And then I'll get fired and not be able to find a new job. You should come to Italy and see Berlusconi coming back to power in the next election is real fun. Wait, that guy is still around and he might get back into... Are you serious? Oh, they give some employees at one time $1,000 bonus, but fire more people at the same time so that $1,000 is peanuts. The net change is nothing. Okay. Well, we're going to have to just watch the numbers and see what happens. Because if in the next year we don't see significant wage inflation, then we know that the tax plan didn't do anything. I'd say right now it's too difficult to say in any kind of objective measure. Yesterday, he said he was going to raise pensions for moms. Well, his plan is just to raise all pensions, but for moms sounds kinder than for all. Man. Okay, so now it says 173. So I think that the rhythmic simulator would have given me an incorrect fill by now. So I'm liking that. But then the question is the Ninja Trader fill too too stingy? Like, does it require an actual clear to actually fill you? Yeah, and he's probably going to lead the main coalition at 35%. Well, Trump does know how to sell his BS. Got to give him that, right? I mean, I think that either way, his political method. I don't even want to call it a strategy because I don't know how intentional it is or if it's just kind of he just has a feel for it, but it did work. And it worked against some pretty tough political opponents. Because I remember it wasn't just Clinton. Maybe his Republican opponents weren't as strong as everybody said they were, though. Are The Rock and Oprah going Democrat, Republican, or are they making their own party? Oprah would definitely run as a Democrat. For sure. 8, it says I'm 8th in line. Eight more, come on. Okay, 4. Okay, so I should have gotten filled there and it did not fill me. According to Jigsaw, which is Jigsaw uses like the conservative approach, right? It says that everything that pulls off is behind you. The way it works in Italy, they would each make their own party. Well, yeah, but that's the thing with the US system is that it's a two-party system, really. Which I know a lot of people hate, but there are some advantages to it, too. Okay, so I already don't like this sim. Orders ahead of yours, but at the same price. Yeah, well, what's happening is...
Alligator said Bund at Laud.
Well, let's see how much more goes through here. But remember, I was like 500th in line, and now 800 have gone
said
through.
It's like you have CQG fills now, smiling face with open mouth. Join the club.
No, it's way worse than it's. I mean, CQG fills are fairly accurate. I want to say fairly accurate. I mean, I do we all agree that it would have gotten filled there, though? Two-party is awful. It doesn't allow for real change. Well, that's true, but that's also kind of the advantage to it, too, right? So America has always stayed relatively conservative and has done well economically compared to other parts of the world because it's very difficult to change things. Sometimes it's bad. See, the only time... Oh, look. See, no, what the heck? So now I'm wondering, is this order in here and it's not seeing it? It says initialized, but it didn't actually go through. Is that what's happening here? Not cool, guys, not cool. So if I cancel this here...
Heath said okay. I'm trying along here in UB.
Cancel pending. No, if I cancel it here. I'm being hyperbolic here, but the USA is a subsidiary of China. Oh, they definitely have us with the... okay, so now it says cancel pending. Well, that is not what you want to see, is it? So I'm going to say putting orders through bridge on Sims still not working. I don't know, I'm going to have to take this part and just send it to Pete. I think what I can do, because I do have a demo and a live account, is I'll just connect this to the demo and I'll connect this one to the live. Vice versa when I start trading. And that's the way I'll have to do it. So I don't want to buy a full version of NinjaTrader. Not with all of the problems I've been having with it. Crashing even though I like the platform. And now the Chinese are buying up USA real estate too. So do you think that the Chinese are going to stop buying bonds? I'd be very interested to see what happens if that happened.
Heath said come to the Sierra dark side, smiley face, it's free for you with your AMP account.
Yeah, but then I'd have to rewrite all my indicators. And I'd have to rewrite them in, what does AMP use? Does AMP use C++? Maybe C++ wouldn't be so bad. I don't know. What do I have that I really need? AMP.
Heath said I think it's C#.
Oh, well, C# would be great. That's the reason I like NinjaTrader.
Heath said or C++.
Yeah. But I mean, I need my...
Heath said can't remember.
I need cumulative... They have a cumulative... Do they have a built-in cumulative delta for Sierra chart? So I need my cumulative delta, I need my VWAP bands, and I need my spreads. That's what I have over here that I really use.
Heath said yes. They have built in everything.
They have built in everything. Well, there you go. Even built-in VWAP bands.
Heath said they have all that.
Wonder if their VWAP bands are different from mine or not. Well, I could just download it, huh? We could just do that. But then there's the bridge problem still. I guess it's not necessarily a problem because I get eventually they're going to have the bridge for zero charts, right? So I don't think they have it yet, though. But I'm kind of sitting here going like, bridge not that good.
Heath said, well, I did something similar with the bands. It's called rolling VWAP in Sierra. Heath said
Okay.
they have a bridge for rhythmic.
Oh, like you can get data through our trader and into Sierra chart. America needs that revolution, nationalize everything and throw out international interests. Well, okay, I don't necessarily want to see everything get nationalized. That's called communism. But
Heath said, yeah.
I I think it'll come eventually. I mean, here's the thing. Things aren't that bad right now. The economy is doing really well. And we're kind of in a spot where because inflation is low, the economy could grow a ton and keep growing, and this could continue for a long time. Now, of course, it could also blow up in our faces. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, we don't 100% know the future, but there is a scenario where this prosperity could go on for a long, long time. So, maybe all of the gridlock and the political problems that we're having right now aren't so bad if we can continue to do well economically. That's kind of how I look at it. But you never know. We could have a financial crisis and the Trump administration could completely mismanage it and just blow up everything. So you never know. I'm concerned if we have another crisis that people are going to remember the last one and they're going to be like, no bailouts, no helping, just let it all fall. And they're going to let it do that. And then you're going to find out why they never let that happen. The taxpayers built and paid for infrastructure. We should own it. Yeah, that's one that I agree with. I don't like the idea that they want to put all of the money into people building toll roads. Screw that. Like, I don't have toll roads in Utah. I don't want that to ever be a thing in Utah. The only way to deploy full automation in a benefiting way is by centralizing most production and services. You're gonna have to expand or prove that one, because that's something I've never heard before. Although I guess the question is, if there's automation and automation takes away jobs, what are all those people going to do? I think that you'll find that people find stuff to do. Plus, it could also just be the case that automation makes things so cheap that you don't really have to make a whole lot of money to be happy. Maybe there's a lot of people that don't really work or work very rarely, or work part-time and the working part-time becomes a thing. Maybe. Make the 4-hour work week a thing. Or sorry, the 20-hour work week a thing. 4-hour days. Only have to work the afternoon. That'd be so great. I sleep in all day. Or for me, trade all morning. That is not canceling, is it? Okay, so if we close Ninja Trader, what happens? Yes. No. Okay, so of course our data stops because that's where we were getting our data. Hmm. You 20-hour work weeks, you'd have to wage wages a lot. Good luck with that. And Republicans no, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, like, what if the cost of everything because of automation was half of what it is now? Then people would only have to make half as much money. You could potentially, if you kept wages the same, you could potentially just work half the time. Although I'm a bet that probably what would happen is they would just lower wages so that you'd still have to work full time. But for me, it's absurd that we're making people work jobs that machines could do just for them to survive and work some more. No, well, so nobody knows what would happen, but my personal theory is that people will find ways to make work, because if that's what you have to do to survive, then that's what you have to do to survive, even if it means that everybody becomes subsistence farmers again. And there's really, when you think about it, what are things that can't be automated? There's managing, creating, and owning, right? So I think that the one thing will be, we'll have 3D printers and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of, hey, I can make this. I have this idea. I make this thing, and you send it to the factory and you make it. And I think a lot of people will make money doing that. There's also, there's still going to be like managerial jobs, and companies will basically take some of that labor and reallocate it to managing things better. And the last thing is owning things. This is why I'm such a big sticker on, I don't think that middle class people should have to pay capital gains taxes at all. I think that we should say, buy as many stocks as you can. And as long as you're not making more than $100,000 a year, you don't have to pay any taxes on it. Because that's a way that you can get these people to get income, is you can just have them all live on fixed income. They can all become traders. But you're right, Malevolent, we're still training people to be blue/white collar jobs, and a lot of those are going to go away. Yeah. And we need to be training them to do those three things. I agree, no tax area should be way higher. Well, it's just, I understand that capital gains taxes on the middle class is a lot of money, but like, the middle class isn't investing. Like, they put money into their 401k if they do that, and that's it. I think that's a problem. That's not the way that it was 50 years ago. Ever since that they changed those tax rules and everything, people have been relying on, like funds. Put everything into your S&P 500 fund. And it's gotten even worse in the past, 10 years. Can you believe it's been 10 years since the financial crisis? Like, that's still in the back of my mind. But, now that it's so correlated, we have another crash. It's going to be interesting to watch. I quit school right before the internet became a household thing, except for general stuff like math, language, history, politics, etc. Nothing I learned really applies anymore. Yeah, well, high school, I think high school is still like way behind the curve. Like, I think that like basic computer science should be a required high school course. That's a skill that I think in the future is just going to become more and more important. I like profiting in this world, but I don't believe stocks produce any real economy effect. Well, not directly, right? All buying stocks does is give companies money that they can use to grow their business. They, of course, still have to do the right things to build their business. That's the whole argument that people are saying, well, we're going to give all of these people these we're going to give these companies these tax breaks. They're not going to use it on their people. They're going to use it for stock buybacks. Okay. So they use it for stock buybacks.
Heath said LOL, someone is bored there on the offer in the 10. Flashing orders.
Oh, that's right. We were reconnecting, weren't we? Whoa. So my 10-year data is like screwed up, I guess. So I'm going to change the screen here just so that I can... So I'm going to fix some things up here. I'm just going to switch it to this and use...
Heath said so much for my Valva theory. LOL.
Right? It just... that one. Okay. So I don't know what's going on with this. So I wonder if I just get rid of this account that those orders went through. Will those go away? Oh, I have to be disconnected. Disconnect. Yes. Remove account. Okay. Well, now it's all cleared up, I think. And this one is a paper. Yes, okay. Okay, so going back to comments. The biggest problem in society is relative poverty, as in people whose wages don't allow them to get to the end of the month. I have no problem with stock buybacks, but they shouldn't get tax breaks. That's the opposite of a free market. Well, but I mean, the thing with the tax breaks is twofold, right? One is if you have the taxes too high, it makes it difficult to become profitable, or it makes it harder to do well in that country. So it's a competitive thing. And it's mostly like the biggest change that was made in the tax bill, I don't think people talk about it enough, is that we moved to a regional system where if you make money in China, that's made in China and you can bring it over to America when we won't tax you for it. That's going to make a big difference. Um, but they usually add the cost of taxes onto the product anyways. So, do companies really actually pay taxes? I ultimately, it just goes back to you anyways. Around 20% of the population in Italy is in relative poverty. Wow, is it really that bad? Yeah, but Italy did kind of screw themselves. Well, overall taxes are in the USA are the lowest when you factor in tax breaks and stuff. But now when you look at just the base tax rate, and there is some statistical evidence to show that overall tax rate matters. That's why they decided to lower the tax rate and get rid of some of the tax breaks. We'll see how many of those tax breaks actually went away and what people actually end up paying, though, right? Oh yeah, oh yeah. In Europe, they pay way more taxes. We're actually saying taxes in the USA are already among the lowest, for sure. For individual people, I'd like to keep it that way, personally. No, you have to like if you live in New York, I think that the highest you get is like 30-40% of your income. If companies don't really pay taxes, then why do they bitch so much about taxes? If they don't pay taxes, then why does a tax reform create all these economic benefits? Okay, so that's where I was saying that the biggest difference for these companies is going to be their ability to take money that they made overseas and bring it over here. So now they can invest more in their American business without paying the tax penalty. I think that's the biggest reason why they want it. Now, why does the overall rate matter? I don't know. I've seen a study that showed that lowering that rate did have economic benefits. In Italy, both taxes and corruption is high. In Sweden, taxes are high, but you get returns from your state.
Heath said, so Seth, I'm going to try one more combine. The 25K combine with one up, and I'm going to trade the 10-year with 3 contracts. Trying to get used to trading live before I trade my own account.
Yeah, that might be a good idea because there has been you did have problems with just trading your strategy when you did the combine last time. So I think that that'd be smart. And it does kind of sound like, based off of the guy we were talking to on Friday, that if you can do it with 3 contracts. So I think that's a good way of doing it. I don't know. One of the things, going back to the point that you guys were making in YouTube. I mean, I think that if
Heath said, yeah. The only thing I'm worried about is the $5 round turns really eating into my profit.
Right. Yeah, the $5 round turns really sucks. And he was doing that on a Top Step account, so we'll have to see. Anyways, I think that if you really want lots of government services and you're okay paying high taxes and things like that, I think that you should go and live in a Scandinavian country. Like that's like what they're all about, right? The US has always been about maximize freedom. That does come with disadvantages and costs. And my thought is always just kind of like, I like that we've been like that in the past, despite the drawbacks. Netherlands has a strange private public healthcare system. Is it? I thought that it was all private. I thought that it was all public healthcare. The healthcare as a whole is a whole nother thing. That's too big for us to tackle today. Let's not get started on that one. Because I work for a healthcare exchange, and let me tell you what, it's a mess. It's not like 90% of people get the chance to move to Scandinavia. Surely 99.9% of those who would actually benefit from it. Well, yeah, if you were an American and you wanted to move to Scandinavia, would you be able to do it? I don't know. But that's a different irony. Because most countries use what do they call merit-based immigration system. So you have to have some sort of like skill that they really, really want. Hello, air cages. I haven't seen you speak before. You just find us today? In Belgium, 2 malevolent. The private insurances for dental, even cheaper drugs, and other optional stuff. Air cages, why are you not short? Well, so what happened was we were testing a couple of things because the market was slow. So today was a good day to test using the NinjaTrader bridge. And the NinjaTrader bridge didn't work too well. And while we were fixing it, the market floor fell out from underneath of us. And now we are at the low of the day. And I'm a little wary of selling the lows. So I'm going to wait for a setup to see if it'll let me in. Really, Scandinavia gives you all the chances to immigrate. They give you a language course for free, and if you complete it in less than 3 years from entering the country, they give you money for it. That's cool. Well, I wonder why more American liberals aren't moving to Scandinavia. I think they would probably love it. Air cages would short 10 lots right now, huh? Well, that would be nice to be able to short 10 lots, but I'm not getting as entry signal here for my strategy, so I am holding off. And I think I'm actually going to take a few bites of food here. Hmm. Not like all of the people in relative poverty can move to Scandinavia and that will fix every problem. Millions of people would move there and it would default in a day. Sure. Well, the same with any country. I kind of hate it. It kind of bothers me when people use that as an argument for immigration. Like, it's true that there are people in poor countries and that, you know, giving some people the opportunity to move to a place with better opportunities is good, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the right thing for your country. And to justify it, I think that you have to go through and look at statistical evidence and prove what empirically what is the most effective policy. So you guys are talking about Italy. I want to know, because you lived in Italy, because wasn't the thing during their financial crisis, wasn't like the final solution that they decided that the deposit holders, so like if you had a bank account that was over a certain amount and it's supposed to be federally insured, like, you know, in the US we have the FDIC, it was federally insured, and they decided that they just weren't going to insure it and they just lost all of their stuff. Isn't that what happened? Like, how did you feel about that at the time and now? Yeah, I think at that point you're not talking about what's good for your country, but what's good in a humanitarian sense. But that's the point, though. Shouldn't the law be based on what's good for your country? Or no, I kind of feel like sometimes world leaders have to make decisions that are the right decision, but aren't necessarily moral decisions either. Oh, it's harder to move to Scandinavia from outside the EU, for sure. If you live inside the EU, then you could go there anytime you want. My friend made 200,000 in the crypto market within the last month, and he's not even a trader. Well, did he sell? Because it might not be $200,000 forever. Oh, we need to pull up our Bitcoin chart, by the way. Sorry about that. It kind of looks like they've already reached the extent of buying today, which I don't think is a good thing. It might 2 million, maybe. I've made just from mining and trading what I mined, I made like $500, I think, that we're going to use for our account. I think the forward-thinking solution is establishing global institutions that can manage problems in a broader perspective. Well, maybe. I don't want the UN telling me where, you know, who moves where and everything, but I mean, we got to do something about, you know, these quote unquote shithole countries. Like, there's a reason that they're like that, and we need to help these countries get rid of their corruption and you know, get to a better spot. Okay, well, we did tick up there. So maybe that's the extent of the range that we're going to see. What was the point of control for Friday? It was 55? There was 55 and there was 305. So we're right at 305 right now.
ETH said long 30.
Okay. No, well, so when it comes to the refugees thing, I think the real solution is that the countries where those people would fit in the most should be accepting them. I mean, that's the real problem with Syria, is that none of the Muslim countries that are nearby will take them. No, I mean, it's not as I have nothing against people from a certain region or a certain religion. I just think that if you're a Syrian Muslim, you would feel a lot more at home in a Muslim country than you would in, say, the United States or Germany. And because these countries refuse to do that, the West are the ones that are left with the burden, and I think it's causing real problems. But what you're gonna do? I mean, it's just gonna play out the way it's playing out. The first time I bought Bitcoin, I ended up gambling it away. I bought for 1,000 euros, and it was worth 5,000 euros when I lost it all. So my mom always tells it in the sense I lost 5K instead of 1K. Yeah. Wow. So you took your profits and then you put it into other stuff and lost it? Boom, baby. They aren't migrants. They're mostly draft age, military age men. They are invaders taking advantage of the Syrian war. Most migrants are not from Syria. Well, that might be true as well. Or at least I've seen a lot of information that suggests that that is true. Yes. But that doesn't change the overall moral calculation when you're trying to figure out the law. Although I do think that Europe should just say no more. I just took the BTC to a crypto dice site. Oh, there you go. Tisk tisk. Well, there are. I mean, a malevolent freak has a point where he says migrants are not invaders. Okay, there are people that are, migrating to Europe with the intention of turning Europe into a Muslim country. Do those people exist? Yes, they absolutely exist. What percentage of the migrants are they? I don't know. Are they actually a real concern? Like, will Europe actually become a Muslim country? I don't know.
Heath said, Seth, you made $500 from mining alone? What
Yes.
hardware are you mining with?
Well, so I didn't. I'm mining with a NVIDIA 1060. Yeah. So it wasn't like I have great mining software or anything like that. I just mined the right thing. And man, I mean, on one hand, it would be really easy to be like, I'm just so amazing at this. But I mean, the truth is I just got incredibly lucky, right? I said, well, I have one card and I can't put money into the market because it's too expensive to move it around right now with Bitcoin and everything. So I'm just going to find an altcoin that I like the most, and I'm going to just mine that one thing. So I mined Sia coin back when it was like, barely even worth a cent. And I mined 3,500 of it. And, it went up, and at some point it was worth almost $400. And then when it was up there, I sold a little bit of it and moved it around. So, and that's just kind of what I've been doing. So with my 1060 right now, I'm mining Verge, and I can make like $5 a day, I think. I want to buy another card, so I saw somebody locally had a 1060 up for sale for a good price, so I'm gonna go investigate that today. Oh, back to YouTube. I've been mining.
So how do you cash out something like that?
I haven't
looked into crypto at all.
Oh, right. Well, so Boom Baby says I've been mining CA coin for several months. I have more than 10,000 CA coins. Sounds like a lot of money, but isn't. Well, it is a lot. It's like $3,000, isn't it? No, yeah. Where are we at right now? Let's calculate how much they have here. Oh, you sold 10,000 at 10 cents. Good for you. So where's the chart? Bum, 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 ba-dum. Let's do coin market cap. Here's see a coin. Okay. So it didn't quite hit 10 cents, but you sold it up at the top. So you probably sold it for 600 Satoshi like I did. I didn't sell my whole position. I just sold like a third of it so that I could move it into Bitcoin Cash. So if it's worth 7.5 cents, we're going to say. And how much does she say that she has? 10,000. Oh, so it's not much. $750. Yeah. Kind of just depends on how you do it. So it's not all in SIAs. So I also mined some Ethereum. So I think when I did my initial mine, it was like $20, and now it's worth almost 100. I'm making around $5 to a nice hash with the 3x RX 460s. I unlocked the BIOS. Oh, that's interesting. Well, so when I calculated it on what to mine, because what to mine the profitability that you get on there factors in your electricity cost.
ETH said bored and went long all three. LOL.
Oh, jeez. Trying something fun. Well, you should have done a spread trade, Keith. Which way do you think the spread's going to go? Well, it's trading in a range. So right now, I think you should buy the 10 and sell the 30.
ETH said haha.
Yeah. And just take like a tick out of it and make $5 or something. Well, boom, baby. Okay, so she's saying all white Europeans deserve a better future too. Allowing millions upon millions of African migrants will destroy European homelands. I mean, that's their choice. They might make a dumb choice, but it's their choice. Costed $100 each card then. They are more expensive now. Oh my gosh, yeah. My card, I bought it for like $220, I think, on a jet still, and it was like I waited forever to get a good deal on it. It was $220, and now they're worth like $350. Like, it's crazy. And the 1070s are like over $500 now. It's ridiculous. Migrants won't take anything away from any functioning European country. Well, I think the thing that people are concerned about is that at some point the migrants are going to out-reproduce you. I do think that is a credible risk, but we don't really actually know what's going to happen. IHT go long video cards. I think that trade already ended. I'll tell you what though, 1100s are coming, and when those 1100s are coming, I'm gonna buy more than one. I'm gonna buy more than one. Because you know that they're going to go up. Germany, which is the economically stable country in Europe, is also one of the countries that have accepted the most immigrants. Yes, but they also kind of want to put a stop to it, don't they? Wasn't even Merkel was saying that they kind of need to rethink it? It hasn't necessarily been an completely positive thing for the country, right? But they have handled it. It's not like it's destroyed Germany. I think that some of the right wing, campaigning about this particular issue is a little bit hyperbole.
Heath said, "Ha. All I have is a NVIDIA GeForce GT 750M in my MacBook. Is it even possible to mine with that?"
60% of rapes happen in a domestic environment. Is that what the... Because the statistics that I've seen on that particular stuff, Malevolent, says that the government doesn't track the data effectively enough to really make a conclusion, especially in Sweden, where they say that the number of rapes since migrants have come in has gone up. And the right points to this as an example that, the migrants are violent and are bad for the country. And the truth is that the country doesn't even track the race of the perpetrator. So there's no way to know if there are actually migrants or not. Well, yeah, the U.S. foreign policy has created the migrant problem to a large extent, yes.
Delta said, "Sure, it is smiling face with open mouth, but not much."
I don't think anybody would disagree with that, but it is what it is. I mean, it's a problem that we have to deal with. And you can't just leave them all in the country either. That's why it also pisses me off when Trump bitches about how much the USA contributes to the UN. That's not a payment to other countries like he portrays it. Well, why? What was that going off of? What was the thing that he said before that? Don't just put the blame on us for wanting to help those people. Oh, I see. Well, sure. I think that the Donald Trump thing on the UN is 100% selfish thing, right? He's saying we support the UN, we should be getting something out of it, and right now we're not. And right now, frankly, a lot of countries are supposed to be contributing more, crypto? And they haven't. And it's totally a selfish thing. I don't think it would be a good thing to stop funding the UN, but I do think that it's worth trying to pressure them a little bit. I'm all for giving opportunity, but let's not let rapists in. Well, yeah, I think that the biggest problem with immigration isn't necessarily like that there's immigration or that they're letting in people from a certain country or a certain religion or anything like that. I think the problem is that they don't properly vet things. Like for me, in my mind, for the American policy, because we're talking about should we move over to a merit-based system as opposed to the diversity system that we have right now where we only accept a certain number from each country. I think that it should be like you write an essay about freedom and the people that get admitted are the people that write the best essay about freedom. That's how I think it should work, because I want people to come to the United States that believe in the principles that the United States is founded on. And I feel that that a lot of the people that are coming in do not have those values. I personally know a doctor in Italy who was black and got in the EU via a boat as the same rapists. Yeah, see, it has nothing to do with where they came from. I think the like the U.S. system. I don't like the U.S. system because I have friends, and maybe you guys are some of them, But I just had friends from before I started trading that were outside of the U.S. So I had a friend in Australia that really wanted to move to Salt Lake. I have a friend that lived in the Philippines that just really wanted to come to the U.S. because they didn't like the Philippines. And there's literally no way that those people can immigrate to the United States because of the way that the system is set up right now.
Want to make a farm, but we'll need to find a good location for low-cost electricity.
The way that the system works right now is it's basically, if you have a relative in the United States, then you have a chance of getting in, and if you don't, then you're just SOL. And I don't think that that's right. I think that, there's these are good people too. I understand some migrants or people from poor, quote unquote, shithole countries will work hard and will become good, productive citizens that we'll be glad to have had. But there are also other people that would be just as good of an immigrant that are coming from other parts of the world, but because of where they came from or because they don't have relatives here already, they're not admitted. And I don't think that that's right. I think that what we should be doing is we should be saying, okay, who are all of the people that believe in liberty and freedom, and who are all of the people that don't believe in liberty and freedom, and let the ones that believe in liberty and freedom come and immigrate, and the ones that don't believe in the Constitution and stuff, and just say, then go somewhere where the country is like that. Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately the problem, is when you're allowing people into the country that have a worldview that is diametrically opposed to the one that country was founded on. And I'm not saying that it's like all migrants or most migrants or anything like that. I'm just saying that there is definitely a certain percentage of them that are in, and I would prefer that they're not. But how could that guy write an essay on freedom from Senegal before getting in? On a piece of paper and a pencil? Well, liberty and freedom and the Constitution and stuff are pretty broad concepts, yes, but that kind of would afford you a wide array of, ways that you could take it. What do you score it on? Well, that's a good question, but I think that what you would do is you would say, everybody that submitted an essay this year, and we take the top X, however, whatever our quota phrase is for the year. And of course, there would be other things other than just the essay, but I'm just, as an example. Can we all just agree that the vast majority of Muslim immigrants are rapists / serial killers? No, I can't. I can't prove that. It could be true, possibly, but everything that I've looked at has said that they intentionally don't track it. And I'm not going to make an assertion like that unless I can conclusively prove it with empirical evidence. It's just like trading. Like, yeah, I'm not going to get into a trade. I can say it feels to me like it's going to go up. It feels to me like this. But what does the cumulative delta say right now? It's flat. So I don't have empirical, unquestionable evidence that we're going to mean revert. So I don't take a trade. There's also a big flaw in the essay system that many people from those countries can't read or write. Okay, that's a good point. Or they might not read and write English, in which case you would have to have somebody like transcribe it for you or something. I don't know how that would work. But how does that work anyways? If you can't read or write, how do they fill out the paperwork to get to the United States? Is there, somebody there that helps them do that? How does that work? There must be some way to get it through to work. But the thing I'm just saying is that, like, the requirements for getting in, part of it should be demonstrating that you believe in the principles that the country is founded on, and that you want to immigrate to the country in part because of those. Because if you're somebody that believes that the Constitution is evil and that it should be done away with and completely replaced with some religious law, you shouldn't be immigrating to the United States. There are interpreters, sure. Now, I don't think that you should have to demand that they speak English. I think that you should be able to submit the essay in your native language. I think that people that come here should definitely learn the language, but that's difficult. I understand if people have a hard time doing that, as long as they're trying. So I've had to do that before. Yeah, English isn't actually the official language of the US, is it? Do you know that before World War II, there was actually large portions of the country that spoke German? Like there was like whole towns that you could go to where they spoke German, because that's just how many German migrants there were. And it wasn't until World War II and the Nazis and everything like that they were like, oh, well, we don't want to be associated with the Nazis, and so they stopped doing it. And so I think that's part of why there's no official language in the United States, is because traditionally there actually has been other languages. But it's definitely, I mean, you're not going to be able to do a whole lot in the United States if you don't speak English. That's one of the things that because I spent a lot of time with Mexican immigrants when I was on a religious mission, and I think pretty much everybody that we talked to was here illegally. But one of the things that bothered me the most about it was that the parents, I mean, it's hard to learn English. The kids, they just go to school and they learn it within 6 months. But 40, it's really hard to learn a new language, even when you're completely immersed in it. And not only that, but they're just afraid of being deported. Even though the chances of them actually getting deported are very, very low unless they've committed a crime. So, a violent crime. So, these people just stay in their houses all day. It's depressing. It's so depressing. And they would love for us to come by and talk to them, because that was nothing else interesting ever happened. They just spent their day inside and watched, Spanish-speaking channels on Dish 500. There's a whole Dutch-speaking town somewhere in the New York area. Yeah, what Sweden does is pay you to learn Swedish. I think you can take, there's classes you can take that the government pays for, I think. So I dated, or well, I didn't date, I went on a date with a girl that worked for Amnesty International, I think it was, and she worked with Syrian refugees, and her whole job was she would visit the people, and there wasn't a whole lot in Utah, but she would go and visit the people and see how they were doing with learning the language and the local culture. And she was basically there to make sure that she understood how things worked in the United States. Hi, Def Pluto. Another new friend. I haven't seen you before. How did you find our channel? IHT, let's face it, the US is in an identity crisis, and we, America as a whole, don't know who we are or what we stand for anymore. Well, I think that most Americans would agree that the principles enshrined in the Constitution, we all agree on those things. It seems to me that there's some disagreement on some other things. And Belgium has 3 official languages. Yeah. To me, it's insane. But places like Europe, where because European countries aren't that big, you know. Oh, I found you when the Bitcoin futures just opened, and then someone shared your live channel here. Oh, that's cool. Well, thank you for whoever did that. Yeah, I'm trying to, it's a slow day, so we're just kind of chatting politics. By the way, it does look like the Bitcoin futures are turning around. As like I've said, they rarely ever get past that second deviation. I'm sure, but since the Bitcoin futures have started, we haven't seen a true run. You know what I mean? Close some of these extra tabs here. Interesting discussion in Italy right now is the lus soli, meaning people who are born in Italy are Italians, which we don't have right now. There are kids who lived in Italy their whole life and aren't Italian. Wow. That's insane. Yeah. Well, I know people, it's interesting. Because I've met people that have lived in America their whole life, but because they were brought here illegally when they were like 1 year old, they're not citizens. Which is actually interesting because, like the whole Dreamers thing, they're concerned about specifically for people like that. But they actually followed one guy who, he didn't do anything violent or anything like that, but for some reason he got deported. I don't remember why it was that he got deported, but he got deported. And he was in that situation. And apparently when they go back to Mexico, they do really well because they having the American education and all of those skills and everything is like super highly prized by the businesses there. And so they actually end up making more money in Mexico than they would have here in America, because here in America, they were just like working minimum wage jobs and stuff. Oh, I remember when Trump wanted to send them all back to Mexico. So this is another one of those. Okay, so his what he has said on whether or not immigrants that are already here should be allowed to stay or not has been somewhat inconsistent. And I think what's going on there is that, like, I think that at some point there should be some kind of amnesty. Like, once you've solved the problem with people coming in, then you can say, okay, the people that are here, you've lived here for a long time, we'll allow you to stay, and there's some process for that to happen. Sure, like I think that should happen, and that's very counter to what most of my conservative friends would say. It's not a conservative opinion, but I do want them to say. But here's the problem with that. You can't tell them that. If you told them that, more people would come. And so I think that's what's going on. I think Trump understands that, and I think that he actually does want to do amnesty, but he could never say it. He could be like, in his second term, if they do an immigration deal now, and then in his second term, I think maybe he would sign amnesty. I think he would, because then he's not under any political risk, for starters. And assuming that we've already solved the problem, I think that he would do the amnesty. Just based on why he's been inconsistent. But I can't prove that. But I can prove he has been inconsistent. There have been times where he has said that we should allow them to stay, and there's been times where he says they got to go back. Eric Cages, what are your ultimate goals as a trader? Well, I want to trade 20 lots on Zen. That's what I want to do. So if I traded 20 lots in Zen, then I'd be able to quit my day job. did you see that piece about Russian women coming to the USA to give birth and they all stay in Trump hotels? Oh, I did not see that. That's funny. In Russia, that travel agency literally advertises it as a chance to give your child American citizenship. Wow. In Twitter, a lot of long contracts of millions each getting wrecked. Perhaps lots of big players trying to rescue those contracts? In what instrument are you talking about, Def Pluto? Here, I'm gonna take a bite of food here. Okay, good question. Why not aspire to trade 5 lots on UB or ZB? Well, I would love to be able to trade 10 lots on ZB too, but at the moment it just seems like I'm much better at ZN. Plus, in ZN, I could probably size up to 100, maybe even 500 contracts and it not be a big deal. Whereas in ZB, I think once you get to 50 contracts, you're big enough that people start fading you. My problem is that there's no real measure to evaluate the goodwill of people before or as they come in, and that I don't feel right kicking a single person away back to their quote-unquote shitholes. Yeah, well, Malevolent Freak, I agree with that. I think, though, right now this system is based purely on where you came from and who your relatives are. I don't think that that's good. But I think that if you're going to set... Excuse me, I have just ate. I think that if you're going to have a merit-based system, there has to be some evidence that the merits that you're choosing are actually effective at accomplishing what you want. Yeah, anyways, I would like to trade ZB, but I'm not as good at it for some reason. And I think, John, we were talking about this the other day. I think the thing is that in ZN, there's so thick, it really seems like the volume is really your best indicator of what's going to happen in ZN. Whereas in ZB, it does do a good job. I mean, I can tell which way it's going to go in ZB, but I can't necessarily pick the spot, and far too often it'll stop me out and then go in the direction that I wanted it to. So I think that ZB may actually lend itself better towards trading it off of a chart. Yeah, that's why all of my robots I've been putting on ZB. They perform better in ZB. Once I am mining 3K a month, I think I will quit my day job. What kind of a miner do you have, though? How much do you make? I mean, you'd have to have a pretty big mining operation to do that, and cheap electricity. I think this Bitcoin dip is a huge breather, kind of resetting the tensions in prices. I don't know. So who was it that was saying, I missed another comment here. In Twitter, a lot of long contracts of millions each getting wrecked. Perhaps lots of big players trying to rescue those contracts. I'm not seeing that. Here's what I see. So here's the futures. Here's the cumulative delta. Every time somebody buys, it goes up. Every time somebody sells, it goes down. And what's happening in cumulative delta? They're selling it. And they're still short. So it seems to me that in the futures, people are using the futures to go short more than they are long. And what we've been doing recently is just trading in range. The trick is to use online mining. So what makes online mining more profitable than just putting the money in? Does that make sense? Like, why not just put $500 into Bitcoin? Why put $500 into mining Bitcoin instead? Do you get a better return on your investment if you put it into the mining? Because my understanding was that at the moment you don't. Anyways, so there was another thing I wanted to show you, which was I haven't generated it yet. Oh, that's not what I wanted at all. I wanted my R stuff. Okay. So today is the 15th. So here's our indicator. So today it's reading 67. We have to get to 50 before it is considered a buy. To get there, we would have to be at like 8,000, I think. So yeah, I think what you might see is something like this again, where we're going to go down and then we're going to have another huge move that's going to stall out short of a new high, and then it's really going to dump. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that this indicator is going to go down to 50, because historically when we're above 100 and we fall, it goes all the way back. So, but I also wonder if when that happens and we move back up, I question if Bitcoin will still be the top coin at that point. Because just from a practical perspective right now, you know, like the stuff that we've been doing with Rackley, if I want to put money into the market, right, the only way I can really do that in the United States is buying at Gemini or Bittrex, or not Bittrex, blah, 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 like GDAX, Coinbase, essentially, right? So I've got two exchanges where I can exchange dollars that is federally allowed to do that. And then I could buy Bitcoin. But if I want to buy like Sia coin, right, I have to transfer that money from the exchange to Bittrex, and I have to pay a fee to make that transfer happen. And depending on when you did it, that fee could be considerable, especially if you're talking like $100. That's a pretty big chunk of your investment in fees. And so it doesn't make sense to move it in Bitcoin, because I could just as easily go to Coinbase and buy $100 in Bitcoin Cash, trade it over to Bittrex, and then trade it into, whatever it was that I need. Probably at that point, I'd trade it back into Bitcoin and then trade into what I want. And it would be less money for me to do all of that than it would be to buy Bitcoin itself. So at this point, I don't really see the utility of Bitcoin. The other coins have more utility. It depends. If the coin remains flat, then mining is a better return. If it gains, then your income increases. It also creates a discipline. Oh, okay. Yeah. On BTC, you'd pay about a 30% fee, so you keep $70. Exactly. Whereas when I did that, when I moved over into Bitcoin Cash, when I sold my C coin, to move it between exchanges, I used Bitcoin Cash. And the confirmation happened almost instantly. And I didn't even pay like freaking like a cent. I'm starting to buy into the Ethereum Ponzi myself. Yeah, well, I really like Ethereum. Ethereum has one of the most interesting, Ethereum and Zcash have some of the most interesting charts, because you can see here, I'll try and make it like really big for you guys. When you look at historical standards, where its price value ratio has been, we're really quite low, even though we're like making big jumps, even though we're making big gains, because it is literally trading more volume than like the top 3 coins combined. Like, that's insane. It should be trading way higher than it is because people are using it. So why isn't it trading higher than it is? Well, they've had problems, right? Like, they had a problem with the wallet, and then they had that problem where they had to fork so that people could even get into their wallets. And then, I had a problem where, like, just for me to use my wallet, it couldn't like update to the latest chain. And so when I wanted to move the Ethereum that I had mined onto the exchange, it took me like 3 days to do it. And so there's still kind of that, and I think that's why people have been selling it. But it has been going up, but it also looks like when Bitcoin really takes a fall, it kind of takes a fall. So I like Ethereum, but if you're looking to hedge yourself against the fall in Bitcoin, I don't think that there's really anywhere in the crypto space to hide. The problem is ICO scams. Yeah. ICO scams, it probably factors into it as well. But just Ethereum itself is really useful. High Bitcoin fees are unusual and temporary. Future improvements will have to address this. That may be the case, but in my opinion, the thing that matters the most is what you can do with it right now. Maybe Lightning works, maybe it doesn't. But as it is right now, Bitcoin is overvalued based on the utility that it has. And Ethereum is undervalued. Ethereum is a nice platform, but you're constantly producing new value out of nothing. Oh, right. Well, because you could like send Ethereum to an address and create a new coin, and then those new coins could be worth a different amount than Ethereum. In my opinion, this translates into the reward versus time is not worth the risk of being stuck in CN. Well, I think it's probably, yeah. I mean, there's the risk of being in a trade in ZN and not getting very much out of it, versus the risk in ZB of getting stopped out. I don't know if they're equal. I just know I personally am much more consistent in ZN. we're going to give this another month or two first. Because last time I said this, because I was like trading ZN around this time of last year, and then I screwed up. And I was like, well, I might as well just use ZB if I'm going to do that. But now I had a good month in December. You know, see, I think at some point, when I get my account a little bit bigger, I kind of want to do some spread trading again. So then I would be trading all of them anyways. Bitcoin fees must come down, yes. Bitcoin is overvalued if you only look at the transaction fees. It has other advantages: bigger team, very talented developers, stronger network. Well, I'm only saying it's overvalued because of this chart. This chart says that, you know, in my opinion, here is where fair value is, just based off of people trading using it, and everything else after that is extrinsic value, or rather people demanding high expectations of the future. So I'm saying just based off of what people use it for today, it's overvalued. And I wouldn't want to be buying it when that indicator is going down. I want to buy it when that indicator is at 50. Just a week ago on Bitfinex, the largest volume exchange, Ethereum dumped from 0.076 to 0.05 in a few seconds and then back up. I remember that. Can we see that on the chart? Bitfinex. Yeah. Are you talking about this right here? Where it went from like 1300 to 1250? I think picking turns in ZN is easier versus ZB, plus you don't need much if you're trading a lot of contracts. You don't have to make a transaction to use it. I almost never transact my gold, but that doesn't mean it's overvalued. Well, yeah, but other people transact in it, right? Here's the thing, like if we all had Bitcoin and we were all just holding it and we never used it, and the daily transaction volume in Bitcoin was a 0, how much do you think that coin is worth? The only reason that Bitcoin has value is because you can make a transaction with it. If people aren't using it to make transactions, then that means that it's not worth this much. Right? That's my whole theory. The whole theory is that the reason the indicator is able to predict when a coin is overvalued or undervalued so much is because it's basically looking at, are people using it? The best indication of whether or not it has value is if people are actually putting that value to use. And you personally don't have to, but other people do. And the more people that are doing it, the more valuable it is. Oh, it was the BTC pair, not the USD one. We can look at that too. Oh, yeah, right here. See it. Interesting. Well, somebody probably stole it. Well, I would say Bitcoin is the biggest market indicator. I'm just saying right now. Oh, let's go back. Here's Bitcoin. Okay. This is the Coinbase rise. This is what I call this. This was when all the retail traders got in. You notice its support. here was another push. I forget what caused this push, but you know, there's another push that was kind of a exhaustion push. We pushed down and recovered back to our support area. And now we're just kind of skidding along the bottom. You notice also here, I can't draw it down here, but you see kind of how the volume is a little bit kind of declining. It's like people have lost interest in it. That's kind of how I look at it. And meanwhile, from a valuation perspective, you know, very clearly saying that it's going to go down back to that 50. Yeah. Well, I think what will happen is it will get down to that 50, which should put us about between here and here. So it's going to go, can I draw it? I think it's going to go like, I think it's going to go like to here, to about like 8,000. And then it's going to go back up to like that. And it's going to try to make a new high, but it's not going to get there. And then yes, it's going to go probably down to something like that. That's a really speculative theory. Obviously, the chances of it happening exactly like that are probably like nil, but that's kind of what I see happening right now. You notice here they tried making a push, right? That's this right here. Second deviation push up, and now they're pushing it back down again already. So that hasn't been positive action. Even this, I mean, when we got here, it was looking good, and then they immediately brought back down. Yes. Most of the old traders, myself included, are waiting for Bitcoin to start going hard to buy back in. Yeah, I want to see the media and all, because I've definitely done this before, as I've always been kind of bearish Bitcoin. You know, I want to see all of the people that were saying this is a bad idea, you're gonna lose everything, don't trade Bitcoin. When all of those people are partying and saying, see, I was right, it hasn't been complete capitulation yet, has there? No one is using crypto right now in any meaningful way. Price is based almost entirely on speculation, programming teams, and the roadmap. Well, there was a time when you could go and buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin. Not anymore. You can with Bitcoin Cash, apparently, but then they got rid of all the credit cards that were doing it, so now you really can't. There's a counter theory, and that is that we are seeing an S-curve adoption. If true, then the chartists are missing out. Well, I'm not. I don't consider myself a chartist, right? I'm basing this off of value, so it's not technically not a chart pattern, right? And as for S-curve adoption, I don't know if I see this stuff going on behind the scenes that I would really need to see. Like, just think about if you told your family, hey, I don't want to feel uncomfortable when I'm driving a Lamborghini and you guys didn't make all this money, so I'm making sure that you have the opportunity to buy in this too, so that I don't have to worry about you when I'm rich. So I need you to go and buy some. And how are they going to do that? Like, you have to go to Coinbase, you have to go through this huge, arduous process to deposit any money there. And then when you do deposit money, it takes forever. I mean, like forever for the transaction to actually come through. And then if you want to go and get in some speculative coin that you really believe in, you have to, apparently right now, trade it for Bitcoin Cash, move that Bitcoin Cash to the other exchange, or you probably also have to do a bunch of, stuff to confirm your identity, and then trade it into the speculative asset that you have. And then potentially, because you don't trust that exchange, you might have to move that into your own wallet. So you have to run that wallet on your own machine. And then when you want to sell it, we have to do that whole process in reverse. Except for that, maybe for instance, in the case of Siacoin, most people couldn't sell Siacoin when they wanted to because they had it in their wallets and the Bittrex wallet was down. So then you finally are able to trade it. The price is already gone. You don't get the price that you want. And you have to do the whole process in reverse. Right? And we're sitting here and saying, that adoption is improving, that this is improving, and I just don't see that at the moment. That's why the crypto market has to take a big hit. And dev teams are going to have to rethink a couple of things. They're going to have to say, okay, we need it to be easier to convert between Bitcoins and dollars. We need it to be faster and cheaper to move things between exchanges. Maybe we need more decentralized exchanges so that I can still do transactions if if Bittrex isn't working correctly. There are things that have to happen, in my opinion, in order for Bitcoin to make a new high. Institutional adoption is improving well. Wall Street is trying to take advantage of it. I don't know if that's necessarily good for the coin or not. It could be. I'm not saying it's bad for it. I'm just trading only one product every day, especially a highly liquid, non-volatile product like ZN will bleed your account dry. You need to trade the products that offer the best opportunity in the current condition. Well, I don't believe that's true, JJ, because you can make money off of CN every day. Maybe you might not make as much as if you traded between different futures products. I know that there are people that trade strategies like that. But I've also seen when people try and trade that strategy, they don't understand the instrument that they're trading, and they see that setup and don't know about something and get absolutely murdered. So for me, I think my edge is knowing the product. I pick a product that I know I can make money on every day. I only need to make one tick and I make more than the commission. 3 trades of one tick. Well, it takes 3 break-even trades to equal 1 tick in profit. So it's pretty easy to make more than, if you're profitable, you'll probably be better than break-even in ZN. Well, and he was saying, I'm not saying you can't make money in ZN because it does run sometimes, but not every day. But that's the thing, is even the days that it doesn't run, you can make money. Because we could make money, today has been the slowest day that you possibly could have ever had. Well, and you can't see it on that chart because we restarted things, but you could have sold, that's ZF. Not ZF. Okay. You could have sold here at 05 or 123, and I think we did have some people that did that. And you could have made 4 ticks. That's good enough. It really is. I saw that COB was doing really well today, Rackley. It's actually showing up in the coin market cap now, at least. But I think with KCS, because remember, we went back and we calculated how much you actually make off of the payout from KCS. even if you own a sizable portion, it's not really that much that it makes you. I think that with KCS, it's the value in it has much more to do with how much is it going to go up when more people start trading on that exchange and want it. I mean, the price of the thing itself is going to go up for sure. At least I think it's worth more than the $15 that it's been at. But it's not going to allow you to live off of fixed income or anything. I think people get confused with seeing you could literally make a living making one tick a day if you're trading enough contracts. I suppose if you're trading like 5,000 contracts, but I don't know. I do believe that there is more profit potential in ZB. Generally speaking. So there's another aspect to this as well, right? And that is the spread. So, I would be interested to know when you're trading what, because when I was in it was May, and then again in not October but like September, August, September, okay? So like this area right here, I did pretty good. And why? What was going on at those times? Well, look at the spread. It's going up. And we're also having big moves here. So basically, the months last year, when I did the best trading ZB, it was when we were steepening. Well, what are we doing now? Look at it since basically October. Right here. Look at ZN in particular. If you were going short, you were making more money in ZN than you were ZB. If you took, if you were saying that there was the knob spread, and you were selling 3 notes versus 1 bond, or maybe even just 2 notes, you would have made more trading ZN because of the spread. And I think that that's part of it too. I think that you can make consistently money in ZN always, but I also think that the current environment, because of the spread, it's better to trade ZN. And if we go back to a time where we're steepening, which is going to happen, like the next financial crisis, then you should trade ZB. One trick To move money out of crypto is to straight up buy gold with BTC. That's probably true. How much are you risking to make one tick? One tick. One or two ticks. But the one tick trades in ZN are like 80% win rate trades, right? So, I mean, it works out. You can literally have trades where I'm buying this, I'm selling this, and I have my stop right there. I've done those before and tested them and gotten 80%. The reason I don't do those ones all the time is because that changed. They don't happen anymore. That particular one. Sure, but that other product thick enough to trade enough contracts and to not get chopped up. Trading one ticks trades in CL is going to be a lot more difficult. Yeah, but he's supporting. John likes to trade ZB. He's saying that ZB is a better contract to trade, and I'm saying there is more profit potential in ZB, but if you're doing order flows specifically, it's probably better to trade ZN. And the way that the spread is right now, it's better to trade ZN. KU coin already making $100,000 per day. Yeah. So for those of you that didn't understand what we were saying with KU coin, what KU coin does is it gives you a share of the transactions, the transaction fees that happen on that exchange. So it's like, I think it's 50% of the fees get distributed to KU coin holders based on how much KU coin you hold. So for most of us, I think I calculated it out to be like, if you held $100, you would make like 7 cents or something like that. So it's not enough to live on fixed income, but it does add value to it. And when you add on to that the fact that over time they actually reduce the number of KU coins out there, yeah, I do think that it's a good buy here now that it's come off its highs. You get a little bit, and it's closer to 10. With that theory, why not move over to NQ? The daily range is much larger than all three of those. Oh no, wait, I missed something that John said. Look at the average daily range of UB, ZB, or ZN and ask yourself which one has a higher probability of giving you enough decent entries to find that perfect one tick trade per day. Well, but that's the whole thing. I don't think that range is your... I don't necessarily want something that has wide range. And yeah, John isn't trading off of the order flow, so that's another thing. It seems to me like ZB will go counter to the order flow much more often than the other ones do. That's my conclusion after having traded ZB for about a year. No, thick is just how many contracts are offered up at any one price, right? It's not volume. But it's more to do with the... If this thing starts moving against me, how quickly do I have to get out before I start taking a significant loss? Well, in ZN, you know, if I lose more than 2 ticks, so it's usually because I was dumb, and I had the opportunity to click, and I was like, nah, I think it's going to come back, and I'm going to wait. In ZB, it's going to be 4. It just it can go 4 ticks against you just like that, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you get stopped out all the time. In NQ, man, I mean, those equities, when they run, they run. And yeah, you can get stopped out on an equities run, and there can be a lot of slippage, and you can lose out a lot of money. CL is the same thing. Like CL, I think you can get like 5 to 10 ticks of slippage sometimes. That's like more than, whereas in CN, I don't think I've ever seen anything more than 1. So it's kind of like, you know, how much do those other instruments punish you when you do poorly? I think oil is like the best example, because what happens to most people in oil is they'll do really well one day. Like I had my wife scalp oil, and she was just taking 5 or 10 ticks at a time, I think it was, and she made like $1,000 that day. Like she was really doing really good because it was a range bound day. And then she had another day, and she was just using fill and just watching it, so she didn't really have any edge. And it goes against her, and she moves a lot more than $1,000. So that's the trade. That's what you're trading off for, and that's what ZN does. Is ZN punishes you for a poor decision the least. Is that the right way of saying it? I'm sure you guys are gonna come up with a reason why that's not actually true. CL is almost double the volume of ZB, and again, I think it's like there's a lot more profit potential in CL. There is more profit potential in UB. That doesn't necessarily mean that you as a newbie trader are going to be able to take advantage of it. And the only proof that I really have is just doing it. So we'll take another 2 months here, but she did well because she hadn't learned any of your bad habits. Most newbies don't do great until their head starts messing with them while they're in a trade. It could be. It's kind of interesting to see how she's able to just look at a chart and actually make reasonably okay trades from somebody that literally knows nothing about trading. like I start talking about cumulative delta and her eyes gloss over. Even though she does find the trading interesting and she enjoyed doing it. Yeah. I also think, I don't know. I mean, I think the primary thing for ZN with me is that it just seems to respond better to the order flow. But I kind of feel like that ZB is maybe a better teacher because ZB is really good at showing you where there isn't really edge when you think there is. Yeah? Every time that you go long and you think, oh yeah, it's definitely going to break out here. This is the trade that I want to take. And you get in it and ZB will almost always immediately flip on you. And it takes a while for you to realize that, oh yes, there is absolutely no historical edge there. And I never traded this setup and I don't actually know what's going to happen. Stocks most overbought in 120 years, zero hedge. Is that based on the GDP to market cap ratio? I have seen guys make good trades on the equities. So like our friend Rin Tintin, who lives near me. I haven't met him in real life, but I speak to him from time to time because he's from Utah. And he passed the combine with ES and is doing quite well right now, actually. We also met, so John, just so you know some of the context, because this kind of, I think some of this started because of comments that Keith made saying that he's going to try the combine again with the ZN and trade 3 contracts. We met a guy on Friday that passed the TST combine trading ZN with 3 contracts. And we looked at his stats, and his stats were not unusual or anything like that. They looked very much like what I had done in the past on my good streaks. I mean, he had bad days. He never hit a $500 stop bad day, but he had like $300 bad days, and he had $300 good days. And it was just because he was trading a little bit higher size, he was able to get those $300 days more often. And I think he's going to pass. I mean, based on what I saw in his stats, I would be pretty confident that he'll pass the funded trader and do well when he goes to live. Someone once said to me, if you walk away from your screens and then walk back into the room, the first thing your gut tells you when you look at the charts is likely right. Well, we should backtest that. Can we do that? Once a day, John will walk out of the, because when he goes and gets the coffee, that's usually when the market moves, right? Is when he steps away. And then when he comes back, he should say what his gut is telling you and put that down on a piece of paper. And then we'll see if there is a historical probability of that. As soon as you start analyzing what your gut is telling you is when you've introduced doubt. Maybe. I think what he's saying is that when you take a trade, you have to be confident about it. Like if you take a trade and you're like, well, I don't know if this is right, but I think I need to take it, or whatever it says. But if you don't really believe in it, you're going to look for every reason to get out, and you're going to puke when you don't need to. Once you've introduced doubt, you've allowed indecision to cloud your initial decision. I see. Yeah. Well, I think it's just you have to have a strategy that has a historical probability of being successful, right? I think that the truth is what I was doing in CB, what I've learned is that it just doesn't have that historical probability. It does good most of the time, but then when you get those days where the order flow just isn't going the direction that it should be, I just get killed. And it can go like that for long periods of time. So, with ZB, I think I have to go back to some of the chart methods that we've talked about in the past. That's why I've been doing the running the robot, although the robot doesn't seem to be the robot actually does a pretty good job at picking some entries. It just needs to get out sooner. Do you put market fundamentals into context, or do you just base your trade decisions on order flow? No, I do put market fundamentals into context. So I'm very much of this was the news that came out. This is the current popular trade, or this is the way that the spread is going. And then I ask myself, is the current order flow justify what's happening? So just for instance, right now, I'm much more cautious about holding on to a long right now than I am holding on to a short. So, if I had happened to take that short when we're messing around, which I didn't really see it. If you look at the chart just here and see, and just to show you why I don't think I would have caught it even if I didn't have those distractions, is just because the cumulative delta really didn't go until it had already broken. So if I had taken a trade, I don't think I would have gotten very much out of it. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that I did. I would feel much more comfortable right now taking that short than I would be fading this bottom of this range right now at 30 even. Why? Well, look at the daily chart. What are we doing? We're going down. Which way is the spread going? It's going down, which means sell ZN, buy ZB. So when we're going down, I want to push those ones, and when we're going up, I'm going to be more careful. Oh, I need to undeafen the room. I forget that I did turn that off. Oh, Keith did get +2 out of that trade, though. That's good. So Keith did take that one, and he got 2 ticks out of it. Where did my... oh, there you are. Where'd my browsing window go? Oh, Bitcoin hasn't moved very much in the past, 30 minutes, has it? Hmm. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It was Chester Bennington murdered by dad John Podesta. Oh gosh. So funny, guys. I'm glad you guys showed me that one. Mm, that's what we're doing. Okay. John Bottomley, no. So Tino Trader was asking him, do you just look at the chart and go with your first gut feeling? And John says, no, that wasn't the point I was trying to make. We're discussing Seth's wife taking trades with no prior knowledge or bias, no learned behavior, no bad habits. Right. I think I just told her to make, you know, take 5 ticks and take it, and because it was a range bound day, you know, that strategy is going to work. That's why she did so well that day. And because she didn't have any biases, she wasn't looking for like a breakout trade or anything of that nature. She was just looking for what's going to get me 5 ticks. And it's when you get the more experience in your head that you start to do the sorts of dumb things that I do, where it's like, I know it's like a range bound day, but I've seen so many times where this breaks out and it really looks like the volume is coming up and that it's going to break out. So I'm going to try and buy it here. And then it just mean reverts again and you lose 4 ticks. Right? She doesn't have that problem because she hasn't seen enough action to even know that that's even a possibility. All she knows is that she can buy it or she can sell it and make 5 ticks off of it. I have to tell you what though, on a range bound day, taking that, just a few ticks out of CL was awfully profitable. Huh? That's where it's like, there's more profit potential in CL if you're good, and you can tell the difference there. You can make $1,000 on the days that it's not moving anywhere, and you can make more than $1,000 on the days that it runs. And on one contract, that's not bad. I guess going back to the earlier arguments, about which product, I think the way that we could perhaps describe it as different stats, right? So I think that in ZB, you can have a higher profit factor, you can have a higher overall profitability, but in ZN, I think that you have a better max drawdown. That's why I'm going to ZN right now. And that's also considering that you're only going to trade 1 contract. You could trade ZN for 3 contracts, and then that might not be the case anymore. Oh, I didn't see here. There is somebody in. Oh. I thought I saw a message in Twitch, but that's not what it's telling me. It's giving me notifications telling me that I completed another achievement. See here. It gives us goals in Twitch. That's why if you're okay watching on Twitch, I would encourage you to do on Twitch so that we can get this one right here. Reach 3 average viewers in the last 30 days, and we're actually a third of the way through that one, so we've been doing pretty good. We've been doing pretty good on that one. Of course, this one, reach 50 followers, we're very far away from. We have, how many do we have? 4. We're 1/10 of the way there, guys. Okay, we're 8% of the way there. We'll get there someday. And then hopefully we can find more people. That's what we want. We want to keep building community. I see you pay close attention to VWAP and cumulative delta. Why do you feel they are important? Good question. So I don't think that cumulative delta and or VWAP tell you anything that you could not see from looking at the DOM. But I do believe that cumulative delta and VWAP are more objective than I am. So when I come over here and I look at ZN and I see that it's stayed within 1 deviation of the VWAP for the whole session, that says to me we're range bound. And there's been so many times where I felt like, you know, it's about to break out. This isn't a range bound day. This is a double distribution day and it's going to move to here. But then I look at the VWAP and I go, oh, actually it's not. It really isn't. We really haven't moved that much, relatively speaking. Or there will be times where I will say, oh yeah, we're definitely buying here. But then I realize, oh, you know what? We're below the VWAP, and of course we go and we touch the VWAP and we bounce right off of it. So, and same with cumulative delta. Sometimes you'll be watching the numbers going through and you think that, oh, they're buying a ton, they're buying a ton. But then when you look at the cumulative delta, you can see that actually there's been plenty of buys there too that you're just not noticing, and that the delta overall has been flat. Where is the Twitch link? Add it to your video descriptions. I will do that. It's just twitch.tv/speculator7. But I will put it in here. There we go. I think it should just like automatically save it when I do that. Yeah, I don't know if can you see it in there now? Oh, alligator called it a day. So I'm going to give, we're going to watch it for another 15 minutes. And then I've got some stuff to do. Let's see if I can get this video card that somebody has on the local news website. Then I could mine twice as much cryptocurrencies. That would be great. That would make me so happy. Here it is. I'll just send them a message right now. Let's see if they still have it. There we go. Sound is about 2 to 3 seconds ahead on Twitch for me compared to YouTube. Really, is that the case? So if you want to get long, do you want to enter above or below the VWAP? Definitely above the VWAP. So because I tend to do better in momentum trades, I prefer to be doing so on buying on a day where we just spend the whole day above the VWAP. I like cumulative delta. It helps me remember what happened if I miss something on the DOM. Oh. Yeah, if I get this like basic info thing right here, and if I change it in here, it changes it, you know, it saves it for next time I go live, basically. But yeah, sound should be about 5 seconds total delayed. Maybe sometimes it's more than that, but we also, we didn't do it today, but I can also sit in the Discord channel. Have one that's for the stream where I do that. We'll do that tomorrow. I'll remember to do that tomorrow. And that way, if you really want to chat without the delay, you don't have to wait. Donald Trump, the least racist person you've ever interviewed. Isn't it interesting how he says that though? He doesn't. He can't just say I'm not racist. See, because that wouldn't be good persuasion. He has to say it. He has to say it as a positive thing, right? Because if you say I'm not racist, all people will hear is, well, I'm a racist and I'm denying it. But if he says I'm the least racist person you've ever spoken to, now he is something. And you remember that he's not just not racist. He's the least racist person you've ever spoken to. Nobody's getting fired over the false missile alert. I don't know. If it was me, even if, you know, the guy just made an honest mistake or it wasn't really his fault, I would still fire him. Because you have to show people that, I mean, people are incensed. They thought they were going to die. Somebody has to be fired, right? The angry mob must be placated. Oh my, charges filed against executive for bribing Russian nuclear company prior to approval of Uranium One deal. Well, that's interesting. Why did I not hear about that one earlier? Oh, it was last night. Yes, it's something I learned from an NLP book. Try to avoid negative words. It makes a totally different impression, yeah. They teach us when, because I do Olympic weightlifting, and they always say, never say don't say, don't you dare drop it, don't drop it. You tell them stand up, stand up. And it has a completely different psychological effect on the lifter. Now, because today is such a range-bound day, I actually think you could probably fairly safely buy 30 here and sell it at 31. But I'm not so sure that it's worth it, considering how slow it is. I could buy it there and then end up being here another 90 minutes before it happens. And I already made that mistake on Friday. No, that's not right. I can't go fully into the options here without changing the screen here for a second. Camera. Okay, now I can edit it. Don't auto connect. Yeah, if you say don't drop, you focus on preventing it to drop. If you say stand up, you focus on performance. Oh, I guess that's okay. It doesn't actually show you anything that you wouldn't. That's useful to you, but might as well play it safe. So this one, auto connect, okay. Okay. Oh, the worker that sent out the alert in Hawaii was reassigned, though. Interesting. You focus on it to drop. If you say stand up, you focus on performance. Yeah. Well, there's a whole thing. I remember this time Alex Jones didn't call something a red flag, a false flag operation. That there was people on 4chan that were claiming it was a false flag. The deep state did it to try and trick the Trump administration, but they didn't fall for it. It was a freaking LARP. This is the thing that drives me nuts on Reddit the most, is that you go into Reddit and you on like the Donald particularly, and sort by like top each hour, and there's always tons of posts, usually from people LARPing on 4chan, saying this is gonna happen and this is gonna happen, and because they were right like one time, they always post these things, and they just completely buy it, and it drives me crazy. Oh, yep, I can see it in the chat on Twitch, right? Yeah, there's things I like about Twitch. It seems like it's a lot easier for people to find us on YouTube, though. I don't think there's very many people searching for trading videos on Twitch, but there is a decent number of people searching for trading videos on YouTube. So it's been working better over there. Let's modify our portfolio here in Delta to reflect the stuff that we mined. There we go. This one. $10. So I got about $15 worth of Verge now. Might go back to mining Ethereum. I don't know. Let's see if we can get this video card. If I get this video card, it may be worth it for me to go back to Ethereum. The problem with Ethereum was that it just took too long to get a payout. So if I wanted to try something else, I got bored, I couldn't do it. If this would have happened under a Democrat president, this would be wall-to-wall coverage. Yeah, people search mostly on Google, yeah. Well, I think you might be right about this particular one. I mean, there has been decent coverage about it, right? And the only thing that I've seen was Donald Trump didn't tweet about it, and this shows an abdication of leadership by President Trump. Well, okay. They're trying. But if a Democrat was in charge, Republicans would be hitting them much harder, because this is a failure of government, right? This is totally their thing. So you're right. They would be all over it. I don't know. It definitely shows you Google search results above others. But I mean, you can't really say that it's not fair, because, I mean, come on. How often is the video that you're looking for not on YouTube? Okay, well, it looks like I was right that it wasn't going to go back to the VWAP before too long, and it is already 10 o'clock. That went by really quickly. We chatted a long time. So, yeah, thank you guys for joining in. I enjoyed talking. Oh, Beach Bum asks, what product is he trading? I wasn't trading the 10-year note ZN right here. No trades today, though. A wooden chair. Maybe I should try. I do have a wooden chair in here I could probably sell. Should look into that. Okay. Anyways, and I'm sorry to go, right when you get here, Beach Bun, but it's time. It's just the market's not moving, and I should be doing other stuff today. But come back tomorrow. I start streaming at 8:20 Eastern time about. So the earlier in the morning is kind of better opportunity, so I would tune in then. And I will catch you guys all tomorrow.